PublishWave is another part of the Adept solution that can bring significant productivity gains to your organization. PublishWave enables you to single or batch mode print or publish CAD documents or Office files directly from Adept in an automated or an on-demand mode. A PublishWave license adds the PublishWave server and Publish to Adept, sometimes we call that P2A, components to your Adept environment. The PublishWave server is in fact a workstation or a server OS machine that runs the native CAD or Office applications to create the PDFs or hard copies that you request from your Adept clients. The Publish to Adept components, or P2A as we call them, is a program where rules are configured to direct PDFs created by the PublishWave server to other sources of document. You can also include other sources of documents into assigned Adept libraries. Published job requests can be created multiple ways from both the desktop and the web clients. The Adept admin can configure different ways that jobs are processed to meet your organization's PDF requirements. With PublishWave, PDF creation is supported from these applications: Microsoft Word and Excel, AutoCAD, Inventor, SolidWorks, and now also MicroStation Connect. Now let's roll through some of the ways you can use PublishWave. First, let's talk about how the publish requests are generated. The most basic scenario for submitting a publish job is using this job request form, which includes all the configuration information for outputting either hard copies or PDFs. For jobs that are going to be repeated, you can also save a job definition for future use. Once a job request is posted, it's sent to the PublishWave queue. All the processing is done by the PublishWave server. For example, if a job request contains 50 DWG files, the PublishWave server will open AutoCAD 50 times and create that output, doing all the heavy lifting and letting the user get back to other work. Once the PublishWave completes its processing, if hard copies are requested, then they will be outputted to the assigned printer or plotter. Hard copy output can be requested with all methods of job request, either manual or workflow events. Once PublishWave completes the published jobs that create PDFs or TIFFs, the output files are placed in a network folder. How the PDFs are consumed is up to you. Maybe you make the files available on the network for non-Adept users within or outside of the organization, or perhaps they are accessed by an external system like an ERP, MRP, or a SharePoint system. We'll talk more about how the files can be consumed or used in a second. The second method for creating PDFs is automating the request as part of a workflow event in Adept on either the check-in or the final approval event. When this happens, a job request is automatically created, which includes all the configuration information to produce the PDF or hard copy. Once the job request is generated, it's sent to the PublishWave queue and then processed by PublishWave. With both request methods, PublishWave will start and stop the native applications, controlling the input and output needed, applying standards and configurations. Let's talk a little bit more about how PDFs are used after they're produced. Users both inside or outside your organization can access PDFs on a network folder. Knowing the file name, they can access the high-fidelity PDFs or TIFFs that PublishWave produced. For organizations that have users accessing PDFs, this is where Publish to Adept can come into play. As part of the PublishWave job, Publish to Adept, P2A, can be configured to put PDFs back into Adept. This can create a set of consumable documents in Adept with an audit trail of who and when those PDFs were accessed. Additionally, all the metadata that the native file has on the data card can be migrated automatically to the PDF, along with references being created between the native file and the PDF. This will create and allow the consumers of the PDFs new and additional ways to search for the PDF files, all the same search tools and values that work with the native files will apply to the PDFs. Metadata fields on the data card of the native file can be used multiple ways. I just mentioned how these fields can become part of the PDF in Adept with the Publish to Adept. This data can also be used by other business systems. Another option you have with P2A when you create a publish job is to output the native file properties to an XML file. The XML file is put in the same folder as the PDF and then can be consumed by another business system, maybe an ERP, SAP, SharePoint, or something like that. In this slide, we can see how PDF and XML files can be processed, all related to a final release. PDFs can be created if needed, or any file in its native format can be passed through Adept, from Adept through PublishWave, and then available for access in another business system. A great example of this is one of our customers that publishes approved documents to SharePoint. PublishWave delivers the documents and the metadata to a shared folder. Then, using SharePoint APIs and scripting and a consistent naming convention, they have automated the process of taking the PublishWave output and placing the documents in the correct SharePoint location based on a job number. In addition, they use the accompanying metadata XML file supplied via PublishWave to update their SharePoint headers for each document, allowing the users to see valuable information about the documents in SharePoint. Another way Publish to Adept can be used can relate to documents that you receive from external sources. If you receive documents from vendors, contractors, or customers, Publish to Adept can automate the import and upload process so users don't have to manually load the files into the Adept server. Rules can be defined so based on a watched folder, the document is uploaded by Publish to Adept. The document was put into a target library and a notification can be sent that the file's been uploaded. In this screenshot, we can see how different PublishWave output devices like printers, plotters, or publish formats can be configured. Also, watermarks can be defined. Like the Adept configuration, PublishWave is configured using dialog boxes. No programming or coding is required to set up and maintain PublishWave or Publish to Adept. From this screen here, we can see how standard configuration settings can be applied to job requests so that rotation, scale, paper size, and so on are all handled in a consistent way. Multiple output locations can also be created. For example, a PDF is published back into Adept with P2A, and a second PDF is migrated to a SharePoint system.